Hey everybody, welcome to Firebelly's Got Fire, and I'm Duncan Olney, and I am so excited to have none other than the dynamic Doran Moreland. Doran, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Duncan. I'm glad to be here, man.
Doran is a very well accomplished man. He is the executive director for Statewide Diversity and Community Engagement. That's a long title.
That's a lot, yeah. Ivy Tech Community College.
Ivy Tech Community College.
Been
right.
there for 2.5 years. Some people may not know we're the largest community college system in the entire United States. 19 full degree granting campuses, and so my role is statewide. I get to work with leaders throughout the college on all sorts of areas, and I'm really fortunate to have an opportunity to do that kind of work.
Awesome. Today we're going to learn a little bit about diversity, community engagement, and also about Doran. So Doran, I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
I'd like you to answer them immediately.
Okay.
That's a kindergarten cop reference. So tell us about the thread that runs through your work. At Ivy Tech,
Sure.
As well as at the boards. I know you're active with a lot of boards. What's the thread that flows through?
Correct. Yeah. So we have three main pillars for diversity and inclusion at Ivy Tech. They are underserved student success and retention, diverse talent attraction, and then the final is supplier diversity, where we aim to make the college a strong partner for minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses throughout the state of Indiana. That latter one is really an area where we've been really making some major waves. Other higher ed institutions are trying to catch up with us. We think it's a good thing to do, the supplier diversity piece, because it helps us find value as a college. But also, it's just the right thing to do to help some new aspiring upstarts get a shot at crack at doing business with Ivy Tech.
And it also is about bringing more voices into the picture,
Absolutely.
frankly. Yeah.
No doubt.
So, and you mentioned attracting more students to not only high tech. I mean, we hear a lot about high tech, and that's awesome. But what about high demand?
Yeah. So, another way that Ivy Tech is kind of different than other higher ed institutions is that we offer a multitude of courses, a lot of different disciplines, everything from liberal arts and communications to technology-related fields. But we actually are starting to lean into a few specific fields that we call sort of high demand, 5 flame. It's the state of Indiana calls those kinds of fields that are really, really hot, 5 flame fields. So those would be things like logistics, advanced manufacturing, robotics, IT, cybersecurity. So, we of course want the student to direct their own path, but we also try to push students in certain directions where we know that they're going to find a very, very strong place to land once they graduate from Ivy Tech. And I especially am really interested in finding those students who traditionally haven't been spoken to, first in their family to go to college, students, who are from low income or sort of tender backgrounds. We want to bring them in, support them, get them on their way in places where we know they're going to be successful. They'll find a job on day one.
So, and how does that fit with the boards you're on?
Oh yeah, so I'm also on a few boards, the Indy Chamber, United Way of Central Indiana, Indiana Humanities, which is a statewide board. I'm the board chair for Recycle Force, which focuses on ex-offender reentry, based here in Indianapolis. And finally Visit Indy.
Yeah, Visit Indy.
And so you can tell I'm very, very passionate about digging deep down into my own home city that I'm from. I would say the theme that kind of goes through all those is just really connectedness. I really think that Indy is an awesome city, but for us to be a world-class city, we've got to challenge ourselves to bring different voices to the table, look at all the areas where maybe Indy isn't performing as well as it should be, and figure out a way to get every corner of our city firing on all cylinders. So basically, I'm the kind of guy who thinks that we all do better when all of us are doing well.
Together,
yeah. Exactly.
I mean, to say that Doran is a busy guy is an understatement. He's married to Kristen and 2 wonderful kids, Sloan and Quinn.
Yeah.
And he's an avid runner.
I try to. Yeah.
He's going to help you run to all those meetings.
Yeah.
Right? And you're a sports enthusiast, and I know that behind the scenes you're also a music guy. So
I do love music. Yeah.
When you're doing all this community engagement work across the state, right? What platforms are you interested in, if any? Professionally and personally. I'm talking about social media.
Man, this is embarrassing to sit next to a guy like Duncan and admit this, but I'm not really on the cutting edge in terms of tech platforms. I use all the same stuff that everybody else does. LinkedIn, kind of hit or miss with LinkedIn, but I'm out there nonetheless. I do like Twitter because I like the immediacy of it. When I'm on Twitter, the kinds of people I follow a lot of times are entrepreneurs. Both, everybody follows Elon Musk, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
love following him.
There's a lot of drama
Love seeing
there.
what he's up to.
Yeah.
Lately, man, he's kind of getting into Kanye West, Trump territory. But Elon, I love you, man. I hope we want to see you do well. But I also love following local tech entrepreneurs as well, and just local entrepreneurs in general. I think that entrepreneurs really are on the sort of the cutting edge and the vanguard of communities. They are working to grow their businesses every day, but they're also kind of watching the environment that they're growing their business in. They're always tweaking and tailoring, and I think that building a strong community, something that's vital to that is having a sandbox where businesses can also thrive. And so, I love entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Well, and let me go back to the community engagement piece for a second. With the community engagement, is it more about word of mouth? Is it about how do you manage this narrative across the state? I mean, it's not social media, but so there's a lot of meetings. There's a lot of story development.
So I think that with a lot of things, it starts with listening. Just listening to So if you look at things through the Ivy Tech lens. Like I said, 19 different campuses, literally from the top of the state to the bottom of the state. So our campuses in Kokomo aren't like the campuses in Valparaiso, which aren't like the campuses in Sellersburg or Columbus. So there are core things that we're offering in all these places, but we're doing them in slightly different ways, and every way is relevant and worth preserving. So the art is really listening to what your team wants, listening to what they do best, helping them kind of understand, well, hey, this campus is doing that pretty well. Is there a way that perhaps we could adopt those kinds of practices on your neck of the woods too? Yeah. That way we're kind of lifting up the entire system while also kind of preserving the special autonomy that makes every campus great. And so again, I think that to your first question about what community engagement's all about, it's about listening. It's about finding the things that people are doing best and trying to help people see why doing more of that would be beneficial for everybody.
So, Taylor, are there any questions that we need to address from the audience?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. So, I know a question that a lot of people ask me, 3 people ask me to ask Doran.
Uh-oh.
Doran, what is something that not a lot of people know about you?
So, when I was a child, I thought I was going to be an astronaut, but I think a lot of kids think that. My parents even sent me to space camp. I was the envy of all my friends back then, and I was totally on that train, memorized all the features of our solar system and all that kind of stuff, and then I hit calculus and realized that.
Is that something astronauts have to know?
Well, you have to be good at math, and so then I realized that maybe liberal arts is kind of more my path. But I still love science. I love technology. I love innovation, and but I'm trying to, that's the beauty of liberal arts is that it can be all those things. They mentioned Indiana Humanities. That's what a lot of what we do is trying to figure out ways to bring people together to slow things down and have conversations, mindfulness, thoughtful discussions about how technology is changing our lives. How can we take what's best about technology and maybe do less with the things that are kind of separating us? So there's always a place for humanities, but that's one thing. I think another kind of funny thing about me is that I can eat basically anything. I have very, very flexible taste buds. I used to have a hang up with okra. Boiled okra, it has seeds in it.
Everyone does.
But then I had it again a couple months ago. I was like, what, I can do it. It's not too bad. So I think that was the last thing on my list to check off.
Fried okra, though. You had fried okra?
I love fried okra.
Oh, yeah.
Anything fried.
Yeah.
So I challenge you to put something in front of me that I won't.
And I have a little dinner club, and I'm a
cool. I'm in.
I think I'm a good cook.
By the way, this wine or the beer is also really good.
Cheers.
Thanks.
So I want to thank you, Doran, for coming on.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
We do these shows so we can be a part of a bigger part of our community in Indianapolis. And we try to look for people that have some fire and passion. So thank you for being here. Last question.
Yeah.
Is Pluto a planet?
I say it is, and they're vacillating on it. I'm gonna go for Pluto. Before we wrap up, I just want to say, man, I've known you for a long time. It's been awesome to see you grow your business, grow your team, and just when I got the call to come to do this, I was tickled to do it. So
excellent.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. And I want to thank Lexi, our director of photography, and the inimitable Taylor Carlier, who is a fantastic producer, for putting all this together. So
Taylor's
Doran,
awesome.
Thank you again. And with that, back to you, Lexi.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man.
Glad to have you.